Hello, Ravens fans, and welcome to another season preview. I'm Aaron Schneider, Sports Information Director, Anderson University, and joining us for our men's soccer interviews, head coach Scott Fridley. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
All right, so first let's dig into kind of how this season's looking to begin with. So I want to look at kind of our last couple years. 2 years ago, we had our third place season. Made it to the conference tournament, hosted the postseason match. Last year we finished sixth. Had a little bit more injuries. We had a couple of matches where that we had a couple of bad losses, but we had a couple of matches at the end where we played really well and were able to fight to get to that sixth seed. So looking at our team from 2 years ago, where we had third place, a lot of those key players on that team are still with us. So looking at that, what would you say the goals and expectations are for this year?
Well, first of all, that class was a really good class. They're all juniors now. At one point in that year, we had 8 of them starting. Our team is dominated by juniors, and then you have a handful of seniors, sophomores, and freshmen. So we're excited that group can lead us. I think they're a year smarter. I think a year of more experience. I think we have a really good blend of the 4 classes, and I really look forward to, I think we're going to have a good year.
All right, and then what would you say your team strength is?
Well, this is probably the best offensive team I've had. The last 2 years, we've had probably more offense than we've had in years. Usually the defense is the strength, and the defense should be solid, but we have a lot of depth in the offense. So I would say we can score goals, and the question is, can we keep them out of our goal?
All right, so now we look into kind of going through our roster a bit. You talked a bit about our junior class and how that's been huge for us. But I do want to start with our seniors, especially given we have 2 first team returners in our senior class with Drew Vaughn, Stephen Fight. Tell us about our senior class.
You have Gonzer that is returning as a MBA graduate, and then you have Vaughn and Fight, as you said, first team all conference last year, and Josh Brown, goalkeeper from Tennessee. So the 4 of them, we look for them to have a lot of leadership and show us the way. Steven's got a little knock on the knee, so I don't know if he'll play this weekend, but preseason he's played well. I think I look forward to their leadership and pushing us through the tough times.
All right, so then we get into our large junior class. It started as 20 freshmen coming in. You would know better what the exact number of juniors it is right now. But tell us about some of our juniors that we have.
Well, it is a good class from top to bottom. There is no weakness in our junior class. Unfortunate for some of our guys, we just have a lot of depth. And so for a few of those guys on a normal year, they'd probably be starting or playing a lot more. But Dalton Grubbs, we expect him to be big out of the back again, and he and Jackson should hold down the corners. You've got players like Uzi and Bossman, who are very dangerous, who have both been on the all-conference team over the last couple of years at some point or another. I think there's a lot of excitement for all those guys, Hinton and Murray. I mean, it's just a really good class. It's a really good athletic class. So whether it's Knox or whether it's Murray or whether it's Uzi, there's so many contributors in this group that I think there's a lot to be excited about.
All right, and then finally going into our underclassmen, who do you see some of the key players in from your underclassmen?
Well, in the freshman class, it's a good class. I think top to bottom, it's maybe a little better than the sophomore class coming in. It's just experience versus being prepared. But I expect we'll see a couple sophomores in the starting lineup, in and out. I think the same thing in the freshman class. I think you'll see a couple freshmen that are going to get some playing time and maybe squeak into the front line and see what happens.
All right, so we open up here as we usually do with the Raven Quaker Classic. We have our match on Friday against UC Clermont, and then on Saturday we host Concordia Chicago. Tell us a bit about what you're expecting out of those two opponents.
Well, Claremont, I don't know anything about. We had a team that dropped out, and the Earlham coach knew them and called, and they wanted to join. So I don't know much about them. Concordia is a Division III out of Chicago that we played last year in preseason. They changed coaches, so I have no idea what they're bringing to the table. I expect both teams to be good. I expect both teams to be competitive. But it's kind of a toss-up this year because I just don't know really. That's after a lot of these years, you get to know styles and you get to know coaches and you get to know kind of how people play. But I just don't know much about either of those teams other than what we saw last year in Chicago. And again, new coach, new system, new everything. So if we go out and just play the way we're capable of playing, we'll be okay.
All right, and then finally, what does your team need to do this year to be successful?
I think for us, we've been preaching patience. Our defensive structure needs to be a little better than it was last year, but some of it is experience. Last year we lost some games that we should have never lost, and a lot of that attributes to soccer IQ and just making good decisions, not making decisions that are going to hurt you in the wrong part of the field, making sure that you're just doing the little things right. We have to be more patient. We want to go 100 miles an hour sometimes, and that's not necessary all the time. We just want to play good soccer.
All right, well, I think I've covered the questions I wanted to. Ravens fans, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow along with any more previews, any more content we may put out on YouTube. Of course, follow along with your Anderson men's soccer team this season. We'll be having 2 matches at Fridley Field this weekend. First is against UC Clermont on Friday at 5 p.m. And then following that will be our match against Concordia Chicago. That will be on Saturday at 3 p.m. Coach Fridley, thank you for joining us and good luck this year.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.